Hello all, welcome to this session. Today we will understand uh, IP configuration methods. Let's see the overview first. IP configuration. But it's a very quick introduction, and then we will go with DHCP. So let us understand first how to configure IP address. What methods are there to configure IP addresses? What methods are there? Manual. The first method we have is a manual method. What is manual? You go to computer and go and take some command prompt or console to configure IP address. That is manual method. If you configure IP address manually, that is known as static IP. And there is one more method called DHCP server method. DHCP, which means dynamic IP. What is dynamic IP? When you configure IP address dynamically, which means using DHCP server. So you don't want to go to computer and sit in front of computer and configure IP address. No. So you will have one DHCP server in the network and you configure DHCP server. The DHCP server will provide IP address dynamically to computers. That is called dynamic IP. So when you go manually assign an IP address, that is static. When you configure IP address using DHCP server, that is dynamic. And we have one more IP address called automatic, which means APIPA. What is APIPA address? Every computer will get automatic IP address when there is no static and no dynamic IP. So if the static IP address is disabled, if anything like if DHCP is disabled, when you remove static IP address, then there will be one APIPA address. What is APIPA here? Automatic private IP address. Automatic private IP address. When this IP address obtained when there is no static and no dynamic IP address. So what IP address will be range of APIPA? 169.254.0.0. This is a range, this is a network which IP address can get the APIPA address. Let me go and show you immediately. I will go to my C1 computer. As you know from previous sessions, we are using C1, C2, C3 computers. I will go to this computer. I will open command prompt. I will go to NIC card properties. If I go and check the NIC card properties IPv4, see, I selected obtain IP address automatically. What does it mean? Get IP address from DHCP server. But right now I don't have any DHCP server. If I give IP config, I will have one APIPA address 223.201 is the range, one of the IP address within this range. Can I go and see my C2 IP address? If I go here, tab C2, this is my second PC. I will say IP config. See, I will have 248.179. So these two IP addresses from same network with different IP. Can I use these IP addresses for communication? Yes. So I can use. So I have two computers here. Let me bring some desktop icons. imagine if I have two computers in my network. Let's take some computer icon so that concept will be very clear. So this is, imagine you have desktop 1 computer, computer 2. If you give APIPA, automatic APIPA address, these two computers can communicate without any problem. But the thing is, these two computers can communicate. These two computers cannot communicate to any other different network. That's why we don't use APIPA. If you use APIPA, you cannot communicate to any other network. You cannot access internet. You understood? So APIPA cannot be used in real-time environment, and we can use DHCP and manual. When you go for manual IP configuration, when you have less number of computers, if you have a very small network, there you can use manual static IP address. Imagine if you have a big network, a large enterprise network in your company environment, and where you want to configure IP addresses to all computers, there is a challenge where you have to go and sit each and every computer to configure IP address. This is very difficult. So how to solve this problem? By using DHCP server. So imagine, see, this is how computer network look like. You have so many computers in different locations, which means different locations means in same building on multiple floors. It is highly difficult to configure IP address to all computers when you have large number of computer network. How to solve this problem? We have a solution called DHCP server. As I explained you what is DHCP, it is a service. Let me bring this icon. Imagine this icon is a server acting as a server. In previous sessions we have seen DNS server. Today we will see DHCP server. What is DHCP? So DHCP, it is a service. If you can see here, it is a service used to provide or used to configure IP addresses dynamically to all client computers in the LAN. So when you have a local area network, you want one IP configuration method, that is DHCP, which provides dynamic host configuration protocol to provide IP addresses to client computers. If you have any questions, you can post your questions in our comment section, so that I will respond to your questions, so you will get as a answer. And now what I supposed to explain, we have to go and install DHCP service. Let us see how to installation and configuration of DHCP server. Installation and configuration of DHCP server. So what I will do is, I will use Windows Server 2012 R2 OS. As usual, I am using. You can use 2016 operating system. You can use 2019 operating system. I am not going to say, see, installing DHCP server in from 2008 to till 2019 is same. I can use any operating system. There is no change installation of services in 8 to till 19. So let me choose 2012 R2 operating system to install DHCP server. And by the way, before installation of DHCP server, you must have one IP address, static IP address configure or given to that computer, which acting as a DHCP server. This is must. So you cannot install DHCP server. Without static IP. Even though you install, the DHCP won't work. The DHCP is not going to work when you don't configure static IP address. So DHCP server must have static IP address. What is static IP address? The user has to go to DHCP server and set and configure IP address manually. This is the first condition of DHCP server. What is the first condition? Static IP address. You have to provide static IP address. This is the first condition. And if you are making as a server, and you have to have Windows Server operating system, you must have these two things to install and DHCP server. Maybe you may have got one, sir, can this DHCP should connected to network? Yes or no? Yes, it should be connected to network, right? Without connecting to network, how it is possible to work all these scenarios? Network is obviously required, that is a minimum, and but the specific requirement is to have one static IP address to DHCP server and Windows Server operating system. That's all. After preparing this, let me go and check to see this my computer. Let me check, do I have anything here with IP address, static IP address. I don't have any static IP address here. I will go to check. Say I don't have any static IP. I will configure IP address 172.30.0.10. This is my IP address. If you want to change, you can change, or whatever you want, you can change it. It's not an issue. But I will go with 172.30.0.10. This is my IP address to DHCP server. Now, after this IP config, you can see 172.30.0.10. This is an IP address. After this, what I will do, I will type server manager command in the command prompt. When you type this command, you will get one console called server manager. This is a way of opening server manager. If you don't know, you can note this command. Meanwhile, I have a question from Mr. Shahul Hamid, and thank you for asking the first question. Here is DHCP server will offer only public IP. How about private IPs? Did I mention anywhere public IP? If I mention public IPs, sorry for that. No, DHCP offers any IP address. It doesn't matter public IP or private IP. If I mention public IP, sorry for that. No, it is only providing IP address. It doesn't matter public IP or private IP. Computer doesn't know what is public IP, private IP. We knows it. We divided into public and private. No, computers doesn't know. Computers knows only IP address, network, host bit. That's all, right? So it is not a public IP address, or it is not a private IP address. DHCP offers IP addresses, IPv4 or IPv6, both. If I install DHCP service for IPv4, it works for IPv4. If I install v6, and it will work for v6. That's all. I hope you clear your doubt. Now I go to install DHCP server by selecting add roles and giving next and next. Giving next here is it's taking little bit time to go next. Please wait. Server 1 is a DHCP server, and I will say 172 dot something dot. It shows the static IP address. Here I will choose DHCP server. I will add feature, and now next and next. So next, you should configure at least one static IP on this computer. Yes, we already configured. And before you install, you have some plan. Okay, I have a big plan. I just install. Now this is how installing DHCP server. You got clear? If you have any doubt, please raise the question. After installation, let's install the DHCP service. I will go back. Let's explain something about DHCP. Imagine you have installed DHCP service server in a computer. Let's copy this and paste it here. This is a DHCP server. Let's give a name tag. Here is DHCP server. This name tag given DHCP server. What IP address it has right now? It has 172.30.0.10. This is the IP address which we have given to this DHCP server. Let me change the fonts. Okay, this is the IP address 172.30.0.10. Done. Why DHCP server is to provide. So when DHCP server wants to provide IP addresses to client computers, remember, when DHCP server wants to provide IP addresses to client computers, let me bring these computers act as a client. Okay, these are the client. They don't have IP addresses. These two computers does not have IP addresses. When I want to get IP address from DHCP server, so DHCP server has to have some range of IP addresses, right? Without range of IP addresses, how it is possible to provide IP address? So we have to create something before going to work. So what is the first step? What we installing? The installation of DHCP server is first step. It is done. What is the second step? Configuration. How to configure? How to configure? To configure, what I have to do in the DHCP server? To configure, I have to create a database. We have to create a database. See, I hope you remember in previous sessions, we install DNS and we create zones in the DNS server. That's a database of DNS server. Similarly, we have to create scope in DHCP server. What is a scope? A scope is a range of IP addresses. You understand? What is a scope? Scopes are the database of DHCP server. When you have to do configuration, what do you want to configure? You have to create a range of IP addresses. How the range look like? While creating, we will understand how the range of IP addresses. What is scope? Scope is a range of IP addresses. What will be the range? We will understand while creating, but this is the configuration of DHCP server. You install DHCP service, but it won't work. It won't provide until you create the scope. So what is our first step? Installation of DHCP server. What is our next step? Configuration of DHCP server. What you will do in the configuration? Creating scopes in the DHCP. So how to create a scope? You need one tool, right? You need one tool. For that, I have a tool called DHCP-mgmt.msc. So this is a shortcut command to open DNS. How DNS service has a console. Similarly, DHCP also has a tool. The tool is known as DHCP management tool. I use this command to open DHCP management tool and configure. If I go to system 1, so this is where I install DHCP server. See, DHCP installed, complete DHCP configuration. Let's close. I go to run and say DHCP mgmt.msc. There is a shortcut command. I'll enter the shortcut command and to say expand. See, I hope you can see the screen visible. See, DHCP server, it is there. If I expand, I have two types of scope: DHCP v6, DHCP v4. Don't ask anything related to DHCP v6. This is not a session of DHCP v6. We may have one more session about some other classes, but now I go for IPv4, DHCP v4. See what it telling. A scope is a range of IP addresses. This is what I given as a definition. Assigned to computers requesting a dynamic IP address. Anybody, any computer in the network will send a request to DHCP server to get IP address. The DHCP server must have a scope to provide IP addresses. I hope you understood. Let's go create, right click, new scope. New scope. This is a creating a scope. So while creating the scope, you have to provide the name of the scope. It is all about your organization based. You can create a scope name with your organization name. You can create a scope name with your department. However you want, you can create. I will say Ekascloud. I will say Ekascloud scope description for webinar, and this is every week webinar. And next go here and see what IP address I can provide. See, I can provide 10 network. No, I cannot provide 10 network. I have to provide the range from the same network what DHCP IP address has. I can say 172.30.0.100 to 172.30.30.0.200. This is a range of the scope. So that's a range. We can use this range. So what I'm trying to tell to DHCP server, you have to provide IP addresses from this range. If DHCP start providing IP address, this will be the first IP, and it will start providing 100, 101, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 200. That will be the last. Can I modify the scope range after creating this range? Yes, it is possible to modify. How to modify? We will see it later. Now we have some length. What is this length? Understand carefully once again. When you want to configure IP address to any client, there are two mandatory parameters for during IP configuration. One is IP address, one is subnet mask. If DHCP provide IP address, then who provides the subnet mask? And then who provides the other IP, other configuration like default gateway, DNS servers? We cannot provide, right? DHCP has to provide all the other parameters to the computer, which means whenever you are creating a new scope, it is mandatory to provide the scope range, which means the subnet mask of the scope. If you have subnetted this network, you can increase the number of network bits by selecting this length option, or if you don't want to increase anything, or you can leave as the default, which is /16, which is default subnet mask, 255.255.0.0. If I go next, here is the exclusions and delay. What is it mean? What is exclusions? Understand once again. I will go back to this. Let me explain you what is exclusion. Let's see what is our scope range. Our scope range is 172.30.0.100. This is my scope range. 100 to 172.30.0.200. This is my scope range. So whenever somebody asks my DHCP server to give IP address, it start providing IP address from this range. That's a start IP, that's a end IP. That's fine. But what I want is, I want to exclude some IP address from this range, which I don't want to provide. So DHCP don't want to provide IP address from this range 172.30.0.110. So what does it mean? The range which we have above, it's a scope range. The range which I created now, it's a exclusions range. Exclude. What is exclude? DHCP will not provide IP addresses from this range, which means we are reserving this IP address for some other purposes. This could be a for future use, or this could be a already using static IP addresses. Anything, reason could be anything, but DHCP will not provide IP addresses from this range, but the exclude range should comes under scope range. This is scope range. Scope range. Here is scope range, and exclude range should be inside the scope range. If I ask you one question, you please tell me as a answer, as a comment, after adding this scope range, exclusions range, tell me what will be the what IP address will available by the DHCP server to provide. Understand the question. What IP address will provide by the DHCP server after adding this scope range? I am waiting for your answer. In the meantime, I will go to DHCP server and I will add the exclusions range 172.30.0.100 to 172.30.0.110 added. So which means you can see I have added a exclusions range. If I create this range, what will be the IP address provided by DHCP server? If you answer, that will be very great. And I got answer from Mr. Shahul Hamid 111 to 200. That perfect answer. Sridharan also sending the same answer and perfect. And if you are giving some response by whenever I ask a question, you have to answer in comment section, which means this session should be like a live interaction, or else it will be a boring session. You are not watching movie, right? Just sitting and listening, watching. You are attending the live session. You should keep on response. No, you please commenting. You just ready with your keyboard to ask something. Then one day it could be a live session. Thank you for your response. And yes, I got my response. Thank you once again. So whatever you said, answer is right. Let's go back. Let's go next now. So here least duration, which means least duration. So whenever IP address provided by DHCP server, that IP address will be least, which means DHCP will not provide IP addresses permanently. When IP address will given to client, this IP address stay for 8 days. That's the default duration. It's a default duration. So after this duration, the computer will go to DHCP server and renew IP address automatically. That administrator don't want to do anything. Remember here, so many admins have asked this question, sir, after lease period should I go renew this IP address manually? No, administrator don't want to do anything. When computer has the record, when it assigned, when is obtained IP address, when is a lease time, when is renew time, and the computer itself will go and contact DHCP server and get IP address from DHCP server. What happens at the time of renaming client IP address? At the time of renaming, if the DHCP server is down, what happened? So DHCP at the time of renew, when DHCP down state, the client will not get any IP address. It will take APIPA address, because there is no static IP address, right? When there is no static IP, computer automatically takes what? APIPA address. If computer will not if DHCP server is there, what happens? DHCP will provide one IP address. So every 8 days or every lease time, after lease time, it will get IP address from DHCP server. By default in Windows the lease time is 8 days. After 8 days it has to be. You don't want to have the 8 days duration, you want it to be duration will be a lengthy time, so you can simply do one thing. What you can do, go to this DHCP server, you can increase the time, days to a number of days. You can put 9999 days, that is more than enough, right? We don't want, understand. So let's go with 8 days, and you can make the lease time into hours and minutes. So you may ask one question. What the question is? When the lease time will be in days, when the lease time will be in hours, when the lease time will be in minutes. Can you tell something about it? When you go for a days lease time, hours lease time and minutes lease time. Meanwhile I have a question from see, I can't read Tamil. Your name is in Tamil. I don't understand, but I can speak Tamil, no problem. See, I use AD server 2019, DHCP 2008. It creates same issues. 2008 server not supporting with the 2019. Okay, Mr. I don't know your name. If you give your name, I can use your name to response. See, you are asking Kodandaraman, thank you. And see, you are using, you are asking something. You have Windows Server 2019 Active Directory server, but you are using 2008 as a DHCP server. But your problem is you are not able to get IP address from DHCP server. This is what your question is, right? You are asking that, but why it is not working? See, working with the DHCP in Active Directory, it is not based on the versions. See, it will work, but you have to be, this computer should be a member of domain, number one, and this DHCP server should authorized by domain. Okay. Mostly I will teach you this thing in next week. I cannot teach today's session because I plan to teach DHCP with Active Directory. That is very interesting and very important session. If I cannot teach you today, sorry for that, but if you attend the next session you will understand completely. But I will tell you as a short way. Say you are using 2008 server, which is as a DHCP server 2019, but you have to do three things. Number one, you should log in as a domain admin, where in DHCP server. And number two, the DHCP server should be a member of domain. Actually it should be a member of domain first, then only you can log in as domain admin. And the third thing, the DHCP server must authorized in domain, then only the DHCP will work for domain. If you did all the three, domain member, domain admin login, authorization, then it works, or else it is not going to work. Please check and verify, or if you are having same problem you can message me, or you can if you go to Facebook, we have Ekascloud group. There you can post your question so that I can respond you back. Okay, anyway, I'll go back. I am still didn't get any answer. When we go for days duration, lease duration in days, lease duration in hours, lease duration in minutes. Imagine, say, leave the minutes, or take a public network. Take a public network. The public network in public environment, public, not public network, public environment, any shopping mall. If you go to shopping mall, they provide free Wi-Fi connections, right? They provide free Wi-Fi connection. You enter into the shopping mall, you take a phone and connect to that free Wi-Fi, which means what? You are accessing their network to access internet, and you should get one IP address from that free router. Okay, you should get some net IP address from that router so that you can access internet by using their network. And the router act as a DHCP, the Wi-Fi modem act as a DHCP server in the shopping mall, and the modem will provide one IP address. Will it provide IP address for 30 days? Do you think? Are you going to stay in the shopping mall for 30 days? Is it your plan to go every time to shopping mall? You will stay, you take all your baggage, luggage, and you take bed, pillow, everything to shopping mall, take one place and get. No, not like that, right? Now, how much time you will spend? Maximum 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, or a whole day? If you are a very free guy, if you are a freedom, you don't have any job, you don't have any work in home, then what you will do? You will shop around the shopping mall for how many days? Maximum one day, 10 hours, 12 hours. Which means, what I am trying to say, you will get IP address from the Wi-Fi modem, but that modem, the DHCP server is not going to provide you IP address for a days, not 2 days, 3 days. Okay, it will provide for 1 hour or 30 minutes. That's enough. Or 2 hours maximum. After 2 hours, your mobile device has to contact to that modem and get one more IP address or same IP address from the modem to continue the network connectivity, or else that modem will provide that IP address to some other guy. You understood? So in any public shopping mall or railway station or airport, there will be hours in minutes. Let's go for companies. You take a company. Let's have that company here. This is my company. I am the admin. I start configuring IP address. That computers are going to get IP address from DHCP server, and all these computers are going to remove tomorrow. Will you computer? Are you going to change computers daily? Change, remove computer, add new computer? No, right? Some computers will stay for 3 years. Some computers will stay for 5 years. Some companies stay for until the company die, until the computer works. Okay, so that time you have to provide IP addresses. Least time will to 30 days, 40 days, 1 year, 2 years. It's all depends on the situation, environment. Not you can decide. You are the administrator, but still you cannot decide what is the duration. Your network environment will decide. Okay, you are the administrator in a company. That environment will ask you to set 30 days, 40 days. If you are the administrator for any public network like shopping mall network, then environment will decide to set in hours. You understood this? If you have questions, please post your questions in comment. Let's go to configuration again. 8 days. I leave this 8 days default. I am not going to change anything. If I go next, I can go one option with say no, I will configure later these options. If I go next, the configuration will finish here. If I choose yes option, I have to explain more. Tell me, what do you want? Should I select a yes or no? I am waiting for your response. So anyway, let's go with yes. What option I have? Yes, I want to configure these options now. What options I want to configure? If I go next, I already told you DHCP is the responsible for providing default gateways. DHCP is responsible for providing preferred DNS, alternate DNS, and all other extra parameters. So when DHCP wanted to provide, and the administrator has to configure all this, right? Imagine I have a router in company. Let's go back just a minute, because you have to understand very clearly. Go back to this. So now it's clear. Let me erase everything. Just a minute. Let me clear everything. Let me bring router. Some router. Yeah, here is router. This is a router. Take router. So you may have one IP address configured to router which is 172 dot no you may have configured IP address 172.30.0.1. This is a IP address from this network. So which means if all computers in the network wants to go outside the network, what they have to do, they have to cross this router and go out, which means the IP address of the router will be the default gateway to all client computers in the LAN. Is it right? So the IP address of the router will be the gateway to all computers in the LAN. So you have to go and configure each and every computer. Default gateway is 172.30.0.1. It is not possible, right? Even though it is possible, it is difficult. You have to go and change IP address to all computers. No, it is very difficult. If the network admin changed the IP address, router's IP address to 2, now see, you have to go and configure on all computers default gateway 2. Very difficult here. You cannot configure like this. So imagine when you have DHCP server in the network and the network admin is keep on changing the gateway of router. No problem. You ask DHCP server, you change that IP address of DHCP server in scope, that DHCP will take care of your thing, which means DHCP is not only providing IP address, DHCP is also providing the gateway and preferred DNS, alternate DNS. Would you like to configure all these options now? There is a choice here. If you go there and there is a choice for providing 172.30.0.1, this will be the gateway for all computers in the LAN. You understood what is gateway? Anyway, I go next. And parent domain. So do you want to assign any domain here? You can type the domain name called ekascloud.com. Ekascloud.com is a one-to-one personalized cloud computing program which is 0 to hero. Just I wanted to say, I said it. Okay, no problem. See, ekascloud.com. Do you want to provide IP address? Yes. What IP address? As a DNS server. If you have DNS server 172.30.0.30 or 100 or anything, 20, whatever. Do you want to provide this IP address as a preferred DNS to all client computers? You know preferred DNS. If you don't know preferred DNS, go and watch the previous videos in our YouTube channel to understand what is preferred DNS, because we have finished a DNS chapter and came to DHCP. Now I will go and add, whenever I say this will adding, this will not adding, this is validating whether this IP address has running with valid DNS server or not. So it is saying, the warning says the IP address which I have given is not valid DNS server. You still want to add it? Yes. Why? Because I don't have any DNS server with a 0.20. That's okay, fine. But why I'm adding this? I'm just wanted to show you how to configure preferred DNS in DHCP, how to configure default gateway by using DHCP. This is what I want, and just that is why I'm showing all this. I will go next. Win server, Windows Internet Naming Server. This is one of the NetBIOS topic which I don't want to mention here. It is somewhat a different chapter. It is almost it is before DNS, before domain we were using it. Now I'm not going to discuss anything, just leave it. Next, because yes, do you want to activate this scope now? If you activate, then DHCP start working, start providing IP addresses to all services, which means to all computers. Anyway, let me go with yes and give next and finish. I got the result of this. What? See, scope. I just give one refresh button. I select IPv4 refresh button, and I have address pool. What is address pool? You see here, see 172.30.0.100 to 200. That's a range which used to distribute, but the exclusions range is 100 to 110, which DHCP will not provide until I delete this range. Now what is a lease? I don't have any lease. We have to get, let's see, scope options. If you click on scope options, you will see what IP address for default gateway, what is the preferred DNS, what is the domain name, everything will be there as a configuration. Do you want to configure or modify all this? You can double click here and you can modify it. If I have skipped there, which means while creating scope, it asks you yes to configure all these options, no to skip and create the scope. If I have skipped there, and I have to come back here and configure all these options here. No problem. Let's go here. What I do, let's see now. Just a minute, I'll go back. If you have any questions, please ask in a comment section. I'm keep on repeating this because I'm remembering you to ask. If you have any doubt, you just ask. So what I'm going to do, I made C1 is a DHCP server. I want to make C2 as a DHCP client. How to make DHCP client? The only one option, get IP address from DHCP. Get IP address from DHCP. While getting DHCP, what happens we'll see later, but how to get DHCP IP address? Let's go back to C2. Go to C2. I will go to NICAD. I will select, go to properties. See, I already configured with this automatic IP address. That's okay, fine. And if I clear the screen, I will say IP config. I got one IP address. I didn't do anything, I just check. So what is the connection? DNS space suffix ekascloud.com. What IP address I got? 172.30.0.111. because why I'm not getting 100 to 110? Because I have added that IP addresses into exclusions, which means whatever IP address are added in exclusions, DHCP will not provide. If you want to provide that IP addresses from that exclusions IP addresses, you have to go and delete that exclusions range to provide IP addresses from that range. And you'd see you get a default gateway is 172.0.30.0.1 because we have configured not only that much options. I have one command to see all the details, ipconfig/all. If you enter ipconfig/all, you see here so much options. What options we have? You got IP address when it is obtained. This is Sunday 13 to 2020 5:44. It is close to end, no problem. I will finish the session. Monday till 21, so which means 8 days duration. No default gateway, got it. And DHCP server 30.0.10 fine, and DHCP servers 10.30.0.20, sorry DHCP 10, DNS servers 20. So we got all this information. What else we have to know? We have to know something which is very important. Before that, just wait, I will go here. I have to bring one tool here so that I can explain you. I'll go back to this, change to C1. I will just minimize all these two consoles. Need to have network monitor tool. I don't have it. Let me check if it is network monitor tool. I can show you something. Yes, I have in this computer. I'll copy and paste it here so that I can install in my this computer. So I bring network monitor tool, I install network monitor tool, give yes. So meanwhile I got a question from Mr. Shaul Hamid. You are asking, just a minute, how the connection established initially to connect to DHCP server. That's a great question. I should give one like to your question here. Yeah, it is finished. Let it go. Meanwhile, I go back to that computer. So give me a second. I will bring icons to here because this is very important question. What I'm going to explain now is see here I have a DHCP server. The DHCP server, this is DHCP server, and there is a scope. The IP address of DHCP server is 172.30.0.10, some IP address. This computer doesn't have any IP address. What happens, this computer try to search DHCP server and it will contact DHCP server, and the DHCP server will provide IP address. How the process of getting IP address from DHCP server? This is a question. How the DHCP? There is a process called DORA. DORA. The process called DORA. So DORA is a process to get IP address from DHCP server. DORA is a process. What is DORA here? DORA, you have to know, but I'm going to explain you what is DORA in detail. It is not a few minutes topic. I have to explain you in detail. The time is up, so I'm going to end this session here by just introducing what is DORA. So DORA is a process between DHCP server and DHCP client. It's a process. DORA is a process. What is DORA? If somebody asks you what is DORA, DORA is a process. What is DORA full form? Full form of DORA is D for discover. Discover. O for offer. R for request. A for acknowledgement. Discover, offer, acknowledgement. Request, acknowledgement. D for discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. What is this? There are 4 packets, 4 request and response exchange between DHCP server and client to get IP address. So we have to understand why discover, what is a source IP, what is a destination IP, what is a TCP port, destination port, and how discover will send, what is a broadcast, what is a flooded broadcast, how offer came back, how DHCP server will identify client without IP address, and how request sent, what is the each and everything. If I want to show you as a quick to understand, I will go to client PC. I'll open network monitor tool. I'll say no. I just no capture, start capture. While capture is going on, I will go to this computer. I say IP config / release. It release the IP address. I will tell you so many commands in next class also, but I just wanted to show you something. Renew. Before renew, what I do, I will start the capture. Before renew, I start the capture and say renew. And when I am getting IP address from the DHCP server, if I stop and see the capture data, I will filter for DHCP, apply filter. You see the only 4 packets are exchanged. Only 4 packets are exchanged. Discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. Discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. What is discover? What is the information in discover? Why it is 0? Why it is all 255? See, this is not a time to discuss with finishing in 2 minutes or 10 minutes. No, I have to talk about this DHCP DORA process in detail. One of the most common interview question: what is DORA? What is DORA? What our people tell, DORA, sir, discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. If interviewer doesn't know about anything, he will accept the answer and select for the job. Okay. If the interviewer like me, he won't give the job with the discover, offer, request, acknowledgement. He will ask a complete process and each and everything in DORA, so which we don't have time now to discuss. So I'm going to end this session for this class. This is enough. So what we have understood so far, we know static, dynamic API address. We know how to configure, install and configure a DHCP server. What is a database and what is a scope, and how to create a scope. While creating, what options are there in the scope, and how to get IP address from DHCP server in client PC. While getting IP address, what happens? DORA. What is DORA? How to process the DORA? What happened in between? There is a router. What happened when between 2 networks? And we have so many topics. This is not only one class. We have so many classes about DHCP. You have to wait for this session to attend. Okay. Keep sharing this session, because anybody who are getting benefit of this. And if you want to watch the same video in YouTube, you can go to this YouTube link, Huzefa, or you can go to search Huzefa, where you can get all these videos, our webinars videos. And we have a Facebook page, Ekascloud Facebook page, and like and give a hit love button. And if you want more updates, and we have a YouTube channel for Ekascloud, go to Ekascloud YouTube channel. If you open Ekascloud YouTube channel, you will have so many different language videos like Tamil, Urdu, Hindi, Telugu, Lebanese, Arabic, Russian, Georgian, so one of the useful channel. And I got one question, sir, how to check client received IP address details in DHCP server? Yeah, nice question. This is very important question. Actually, I forgot to show this answer. Let me show here. If I go to DHCP server, you can go to address leases. If you refresh, you can see one, see here, 172.30.0.11. This IP address given to system 2, which is server 2, and if you see that see, there is a unique IP address. The MAC address will be there, the computer's MAC address, and when this IP address is going to expire next 21 December 6:04 p.m. This is how you can verify the IP addresses in DHCP server. If you want to do something, you want to add a filter, you want to add reservation, we will have so many options here. You go to option, reservation, some server option, client option, multi-scope. We will understand in detail. We have a few more classes about DHCP, 2 to 3 weeks. Don't worry, you keep on attending the session, we will understand. And thank you all once again for attending the session and giving response. I feel like this is a live class, which means we are sitting in room, I'm taking class, you are listening, you are responding, and thank you once again. Thank you all for this. Bye, have a weekend, and we will meet in the next session. Bye.